Last class we have completed the chapter 2, chapter 2, and today I am going to start with chapter 3. In that we are going to see two lessons. One is vegetative morphology and anatomy of a plant. Okay, chapter 3 include vegetative morphology. You know what is morphology first? Morphology means a study of external structure of plants or called morphology. Study of external structure of plant is called what? Morphology. And vegetative morphology means what? Vegetative parts of a plant. What are the vegetative parts of a plant? Plant consists of two parts, vegetative part and reproductive part. Vegetative parts include roots, stem and leaves. These are the vegetative parts of a plant, and flowers includes under the plants coming under the reproductive parts of a plant body. Okay, let's enter into the text, children. See, the study of various external features of the organism is known as morphology, bracketed. The study of various external features. Various external features, if we take our body, the external features like eyes, ears, nose, tongue, head, about the external appearance of the body is coming under the external features. That is, the structure which we can see outside is called what? External. So the study of external features of organisms is called as or known as morphology. Plant morphology is also known as external morphology, that deals with the study of shape, size and structure of plants and their parts. Roots, stem, leaves, flowers, fruits and seeds are the external structure that we can see. Study of morphology is important in taxonomy. Morphological features are important in determining productivity of crops. Morphological characters indicate the specific habitats of living as well as the fossil plants and helps to correlate the distribution in space and time of fossil plants. Morphological features are also significant for phylogeny. So, plant morphology can be studied under two broad categories. What are the or name the two broad categories under which plant morphology can be studied? There are two broad categories under which we can study the plant morphology. One is vegetative morphology, another one is reproductive morphology. What does vegetative morphology includes? The vegetative morphology includes shoot system and root system. And about reproductive morphology, it includes flowers, inflorescence, fruits and seeds are called reproductive morphology. Vegetative morphology. Vegetative morphology deals with the study of shape, size and structure of plants and their parts like root, stem and leaves. So, vegetative, as I said, the part which are present in the root, stem, leaves of plant are called vegetative parts, and the morphology about the structure are called vegetative morphology. To understand the vegetative morphology, the following important component are to be studied. What are they? What are the important component to have to study? Habit, habitat and lifespan. What is mean by habit? The general form of a plant is referred as habit. Based on habit, plants are classified into herbs, shrubs, climbers and trees. Okay. Habitat means general structure of a plant is called habit. Based on that, we can classify the plant into herbs, shrubs, climbers and trees. Herbs. Herbs are soft stemmed plant with less wood or no wood. Example, Plantus amarus, Cleome viscosa are an example for herbs. According to the duration of their life, they may be classified as annuals, biennials and perennials. Perennial herbs having a pulp, corm, rhizome or tuber, as the underground stem are termed as geophytes. Example, Allium cepa. So, herbs are soft-stemmed plants that we know very well with less wood or no wood at all. Example for the herbs, Phyllanthus amarus, Cleome viscosa. According to the duration of their life, these herbs may be classified into annuals. That means can be live only 1 year. Within this year, they will be grow, reproduce, and die. This is called annual plants. Biennials, that is the plant life can be 2 years. In the first year, the plant grow. During the second year, it started to reproduce. And perennials, the plants which can be live for many years are called perennials. Perennial herbs having pulp, corm, rhizome or tuber as the underground stem are termed as geophytes. Example, Allium cepa. And shrubs. A shrub is a perennial woody plant with several main stems arising from the ground level. Example, Hibiscus rosa sinensis, that is soup flower. And climbers, an elongated weak stem generally supported by means of climbing devices are called climbers, which may be annual or perennial or herbaceous or woody. So, okay, about climbers, in some plants the stems are very weak. In some plants the stems are very weak. So, in that cases, these weak stems need some supporting plant to climb over that. Those kind of plants are called as climbers. An elongated weak stem generally supported by means of climbing devices are called climbers, which may be annual, perennial. This also either may be annual or perennial, herbaceous or woody. Lina is a vine that is perennial and woody. Linas are major components in the tree canopy layer of some tropical forest. Example, Vendilaco, Endada, Bougainvillea. Next, trees. A tree is a stout, tall, perennial woody plant having one main stem called trunk with many lateral branches. Example, mango, sapota, jack, fig, teak. If the trunk remains unbranched, it is said to be caudex. Example, Palmyra, coconut. Okay, so tree, you know very well what is tree. It is a stout, tall, perennial woody plant having one main stem. This main stem is called trunk. From the main stem, at many lateral branches have arise. Example, mango, sapota, jack, fig and teak. If the trunk remains unbranched, it is said to be caudex. Please bracket it. In a tree, if the trunk is remain unbranched, it is called caudex. Example for that, Palmyra and coconut. And plant habitat, depending upon where plant grows. Habitat may be classified into two major categories, terrestrial and aquatic, that you know very well. If a plant growing on land, it is called terrestrial plants, and if a plants which are growing in the water, it is called aquatic plants or hydrophytes. Okay, about lifespan, already I said, based on lifespan, plants are classified into three types. They are annuals, biennials and perennials, right? Annuals, a plant that complete its life cycle in one growing season. Example, maize, watermelon, groundnut and rice. These are an example for annual plants. Within one cycle, the plants complete their life cycle is called annuals. Biennials, a plant that lives for 2 seasons. It is growing vegetatively during the first season and flowering, fruiting during the second season. Example, carrot, radish, cabbage. Then perennials, a plant that grows for many years, that flowers and set fruits for several seasons during the lifespan. When they bear fruits every year, they are called polycarpic perennials. Example, mango, sapota. Some plants produce flowers and fruits only once and die after a vegetative growth of several years. These plants are called monocarpic perennials. 2 mark question. Example, bambusa, agave, musa. These are example for monocarpic perennials. What is monocarpic perennial? Some plants produce flowers and fruits only once and die after a vegetative growth. for several years. These plants are called monocarpic perennials. Example, Bambusa, Agave, Musa. Parts of a flowering plant. Flowering plants are called angiosperm or magnoliophytes. They are sporophytes consisting of an axis with an underground root system and an aerial shoot system. The shoot system has a stem, branches and leaves. The root system consists of root and its lateral branches. That's it. So about this paragraph, parts of a plant is given. Flowering plants are called the angiosperm, that we know very well. It is if its plant body is sporophyte or gametophyte, angiosperm have the sporophyte as its plant body, and it consists of two main region in its axis, underground root system and aerial shoot system. And the shoot system has stem, branches and leaves. The root system consists of roots and its lateral branches. Root system. The root is non-green cylindrical descending axis of the plant that usually grows into the soil, positively geotrophic. It develops from the radicle, which is the first structure that comes out when a seed is placed in the soil. Root is responsible for absorption of water, nutrient and anchoring the plant. Okay, about root system if we speak, the root is non-green, cylindrical, descending means what grows towards down, descending axis of the plant that usually grows into the soil, positively geotrophic. It develops from the radicle, which is the first structure that comes out when a seed is placed in the soil. You know very well the seed consists of embryo. In the embryo there are two parts, one is radicle, another one is plumule. The radicle develop into the roots and the plumule develop into the shoot when the seed is placed in the soil. That's what he is saying. When the seed is placed in the soil, the radicle is the first part to come out as a root. Root, what is the function of root? Root is responsible for absorption of water, nutrient and anchoring the plant. Okay. Then characteristic features. Root is the descending portion of the plant axis, generally non-green in color as it lacks chlorophyll. These points are you can able to understand, so no need to explain, I think, children. Does not possess nodes, internodes and buds. Exception in sweet potato and members of Rutaceae, roots bear buds which help in vegetative propagation. So like stem, the root does not possess any root nodes and internodes. Okay, but there are some exception. In the sweet potato and the members of Rutaceae family possess roots and bears buds which help in the vegetative propagation, and it bears root has to absorb the water and mineral from the soil, and it is positively geotrophic and negatively phototrophic. That all you know very well, right children? Next, region of root has, it is an important 5-mark question. Please bracket it. With the first I will explain with this diagram. You see children, the root consists of 3 regions. One is, you see, region of cell division, and above the region of cell division, region of cell elongation is present. The region of cell division consists of meristematic cells. This meristematic cells started division and help in the growth of root. And above the region of cell division, a region of cell elongation is present. In this region, the cells are elongated in shape and make the growth of root. And region of cell maturation, in this region the meristematic cells differentiated into matured cells, and this region bears many root hairs which help for absorption of water and minerals. Okay, these are the various regions of the root. With the diagram you will get as a 5-mark question, children. Okay, so I didn't say about the root cap. The root tip is covered with a packet called root cap. That's it. Okay, it protects the root tip from destroying when it's grow. Okay, root tip is covered by a dome shaped structure made of parenchymatous cells called root cap. Okay, what is root cap? The root tip is covered with the parenchymatous cells which cover the root tip is called what? Root cap. It protects the meristematic cells in the apex. In Pandanus, multiple root cap is present. In Pistia, instead of root cap, root packet is present. A few millimeter above the root cap, the following three distinct zones have been classified based on their meristematic activity. So, a few millimeter above the root cap, there are three distinct regions we can see in the root. One is based on its meristematic activity. First one is meristematic zone. Yes, of course, it is since it is a meristematic zone, it is involved in the cell division. Next one is zone of elongation. In this region, the meristematic cells become elongate in its size and make the root enlarge in its size or increase in its size. And zone of maturation, the meristematic cells are completely differentiated into a permanent tissue, and this is called the zone of maturation, and this region possesses many root hairs for absorption of water and minerals. That's it. Let's see the table given here. First we will see position of meristematic zone, zone of elongation and zone of maturation. That is where they are present. Meristematic zone, it is lie above the root cap. The meristematic region of the root is just lie above the root cap, and zone of elongation it lies just above the meristematic zone. That's it. And zone of maturation lie above the zone of elongation. Then types of cells present in this regions are: meristematic zone consists of meristematic cells, and its function is actively divide and continuously increase in number. When the meristematic cells actively divide, it increase the number. When the cells are increase in number, and the growth also has taken place. And zone of elongation, the cells are elongated in nature. And zone of maturation, the cells are matured and differentiated into various types of cells. And functions, regarding functions, the meristematic zone consists of meristematic cell. Since it consists of meristematic cell, this is the main growing tip of the root, and the cells increase in its length and cause enlargement of the root in the zone of elongation. And in zone of maturation, the function is the cell differentiate into various tissues like epidermis, cortex and vascular bundles. It also produce root hairs which absorb water and minerals from the soil. Okay, so this is what tablet column which shows the position, types of cell, functions of various regions of the plant. Okay, so as I said, with the diagram, with this table, this is a 5-mark question. If you have question like explain the various regions of root tip, you will have the answer this. Okay, okay children. Next one is types of root system. This type of root system, you know very well, there are two types of root system. One is taproot system and fibrous root system. Taproot system, it is a characteristic features of dicotyledonous plants, and fibrous root system, it is a characteristic features of monocotyledonous plants. Okay, in taproot system, the root, primary root which is emerge out from the radicle grow towards down. From the primary roots, secondary roots are arise. From the secondary root, tertiary roots are arising, and which form a network of structure. And this is called what? Taproot system. But in case of monocotyledons, the root develop from the primary root develop from the radicle soon disintegrate, and the fibrous root system is formed from the basal nodal region of the stem, and it form a thin and bunches of roots, and it is called what? Fibrous root system, right? Taproot system, primary root is the direct prolongation of radicle. When the primary root persists and continues to grow as in dicotyledons, it forms the main root of the plant and is called taproot. Taproot produces lateral roots that further branches into finer roots, and lateral roots along with the branches together called secondary roots. Okay, so primary roots, from the primary roots lateral roots are produced, the lateral roots are called secondary roots. Next one is adventitious root system. Root developing from any part of the plant other than radicle is called adventitious root. If may develop from the base of the stem or node or internode. Example, Monstera deliciosa, Piper nigrum. In most of the monocots, the primary root of the seedling is short-lived and lateral roots arise from various regions of the plant body. These are bunch of thread-like roots nearly equal in size, which are collectively called fibrous root system, generally found in the grasses. Example, Oryza sativa, Eleusine coracana. Okay, next, functions of root. When we see the functions of root, it has two functions, primary function and secondary function. The primary function of root is absorb water and minerals from the soil, and the second function is help to anchor the plant firmly in the soil. Regarding secondary function, in some plants, roots perform additional functions. They are called secondary function. To perform additional functions, structure of roots are modified. This modification of root system we will discuss in the next class, children. And today's homework, please see the tablet column or this flow chart regarding the root modification. It is in one question, and only one 5-mark question I am going to give us. Explain the various parts of the root or various regions of the root with example. This is the only 5-mark I have to give to you, and along with that the flow chart of root modification. So these are the two questions you will get as a homework, and I will get you in my next class, children. Bye.